The following program contains mature subject matter. Listener discretion is advised. Montreal's news talk leader, CJAD 800 presents Passion with sex therapist Dr. Laurie Betito. To reach Dr. Laurie, call 514-790-0991. Star Talk, a free call on Bell Mobility. And 800-491-CJAD. Now, here's Dr. Laurie.
Welcome to Passion, a show all about love, sex, and relationships. I am a clinical psychologist and a sex therapist, and your host here on Passion. Love to hear from you. You can have questions about anything, about sex and relationship, of course, or you can, give us some feedback on what you'll hear tonight. And tonight, it is our regular monthly feature called Dating Dilemmas. I'm joined, as usual, by Frank Kermit. He's a seduction and dating coach of franktalks.com. He's the author of quite a few books on this subject, and the subject we're working on or talking about tonight. So we want to address single people tonight. If you have questions about dating, meeting people, how to be successful in the dating world, men, women, how to understand the genders, how to pick up, seduce, whatever. All of that happens here tonight on Passion. Here are our phone numbers, and then we'll get right into the topic. 514-790-0991. Star Talk, star 8255. If you happen to be listening online and you are far, far away, you can call us long distance, 1-800-491-CJD, and we do pick up the tab. You can also text your message at 514-800. We're going to talk about something that I don't think anybody ever talks about, except for Frank. Right, Frank? And you've written a book. The only book, I might add, that seems to exist on the topic. But there's a paragraph in here on the back cover. Being an adult-aged male virgin hurts. The older you get without having had sex, the more it hurts, and the more difficult experiencing intimacy becomes. Although sex is not the most important thing in a man's life, when sex or lack thereof is the problem, it is the source of almost all his problems in life. So true. In my practice, I know that over the years I have met many, mostly male virgins, but an adult, and I'm talking over the age of 30. So men out there who still haven't done it, you are certainly not alone. Although statistically it looks like a very small percentage, I think that number, which is about 3% of the 30 plus years population, I have a feeling it's way higher than that.
100%, I agree with you. There's a lot more virgins, both men and women out there, than the statistics will show. Why? People will lie about it.
Right.
Why are they going to lie about it? There's a stigma to being an adult-aged virgin, and that's why it hurts.
Yeah. And interestingly, you started doing, and I don't think anybody's ever done this either, seminars for adult male virgins. How did you ever get into that? Like, how did you start with that?
I didn't even think there was going to be a need for such a thing. During my development, I kept getting referred to other people. Hey, you got to talk to Frank. He helped me. He can help you too. Well, every new guy who was coming to meet me, a common story kept coming up. I'm a virgin, never kissed a girl, never been on a date. And the age range was everything from early 20s as far along as late 40s.
Right.
And the stories were all the same. Now, when you meet one male virgin, two male virgin, three male virgin, 17 adult male virgins. At one point, I just got so frustrated because I was dealing with each guy individually. So I decided, I sent an email to the whole group, kept everybody's email private, and I said, if you're receiving this email, you're an adult age virgin. I'm holding a seminar, a meeting, a virgins only meeting. You're invited. And at that first meeting, we had about 20 guys.
Really?
20 guys. And it was the first time any of them had the chance to talk about what they were going through. Older guys were there to be an example to the younger guys, saying, if you don't get this figured out now, this is what's going to happen to you. We talked about things like the older you get, the worse it's going to be. The age of 25 seems to be the true age of pain for adult male virgins. And
I think this is the bottom line, is that it hurts. Like you say in your book, that men who find themselves in this situation are hurting. They're in pain. They don't want to be this way, and I think it affects them in many ways. 514-790-0991. Mark joins us all the way from Toronto. Hi, Mark.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. How are you?
I'm very good.
Good.
Yeah, I have a question. Two questions, actually.
Okay.
The first one, do you tell the women you're dating that you're not experienced?
That's a very good question.
Sexually or in dating, generally. And the second question is, what if she asks you? Do you be honest about it? Do you lie about it? Or can I just, brush it off?
Mark, those are awesome questions, and I think every adult virgin ponders the exact same thing. Frank, I hope you have an answer.
I do have an answer. Mark, thanks a lot for calling in to answer your second question. Never lie about it. Never lie about it, because if the person you're dating turns into a relationship and it's revealed that you lied about it at the beginning, it destroys whatever possible trust that you had up until that point. Then you have to rebuild the trust. It could be enough to end the relationship. The fact is, there are certain things you don't have to say. It's nobody's business who you did and did not have sex with in your past.
Okay. What if she asks you, like...
if she says directly, are you a virgin?
Yeah. Can I,
you should only...
Some of the questions that will be, if you meet a new woman, she'll be asking you, have you been dating? Like, what's your experience? What's your past? So...
You don't go into it. You can simply say, a gentleman doesn't talk about that. Now, if she is your committed girlfriend, where the two of you are very serious, and you are under the age of, let's say, 23, 24, yes, you can admit it. At that age, she also may or may not be that experienced. But the older you are, the better answer to give is, I don't talk about my past relationships. I don't get into details. And the fact is, even if you were experienced, that's still the best answer to give. The only time you need to go through a full disclosure about your past, who you've done, where you've been, if you're going to make a life commitment to that person, that's when you got to sit down and say, well, look, if we're going to commit to each other and we're going to build something long term, then yeah, I need to know your past, you need to know mine. But until it gets to that type of serious level commitment, your past is not her business, the same way that her past is not your business.
Thanks.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for calling in.
All right.
I appreciate it. Bye-bye. The other thing also, now in this day and age, it seems that people are having sex way before they get to that level, to the point of let's have a committed relationship. And coming up, I want to talk about what do you do if it gets to the point where you're about to have sex, but you're so, you're so nervous because you haven't had any experience, and do you at that point tell? So we'll get to that and talk about this. We're addressing the issue of adult male virgins, although you could be a female virgin as well. I just think that the stigma is a little bit different and the issues are a little bit different, but we can debate that. Frank is here, Frank Kermit of franktalks.com. He wrote a book on the subject. In fact, you can pick it up, Adult Male Virgins, and also he has a YouTube video that you could access, right, for people who are dealing with this.
If you go to youtube.com and type in Adult Male Virgin Preview, there's a preview of CD number 2 where I talk about some of the reasons why a guy won't be able to function when he's with a girl. If he is a virgin, why he's still continuing to be a virgin. It is one of the hottest YouTube videos I have created on my YouTube channel. All
right, wonderful. You're listening to Dating Dilemmas tonight on Passion on CJAD 800.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. If you are an adult and want to get a handle on this once and for all, you need this seminar. Being an adult male virgin can be most stigmatizing in today's society. You feel like a failure in the eyes of the mass culture around you, alienated from your male friends who all talk about their sexual conquests, and you must hide this shameful secret lest they use it against you. And the very personal pain, anguish, and despair that cannot be described by words that haunts you every moment of your life. Enough is enough. It is time for male virgins to take charge of their sex lives. Frank gives you the rules of winning in this seminar. The Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. Make your first time the best time of her life. Only available at franktalks.com. Frank helps adult boys turn into men.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on Montreal's News Talk Leader, CJAD 800.
Dating dilemmas tonight on Passion. We're talking about virginity in later life and the special challenge that poses to a lot of people, especially, I would say especially men. But correct me if I'm wrong, ladies, you can call in too and let us know how you have dealt with it, or have you kept it a secret? It's such a taboo subject. When you talk about virginity later in life, oh boy, it's really tough to open up about this kind of thing. I'm really glad that you at least give guys a forum where they can talk with each other and with you to learn about this. Hyami joins us. Hi, Hyami.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a question for Frank.
Sure.
So when I meet a virgin, she actually tells me that she's a virgin, like directly. Like, what kind of pitfalls should I be careful of when someone has like that kind of pride or as being a virgin?
So you're saying she says it to you with pride. It's like, you know what, I'm a virgin,
pride.
and so obviously it's important to her.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, if she's saying it with a sense of pride, saying, well, I'm a virgin and I'm proud of it, you have to decide then and there if you want to pursue a relationship with her. If you're interested in having sex in the near future, if you're not a believer of waiting until marriage, you might have to just let her know and say, oh, well, I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you're proud of that. Get into a conversation and find out under what parameters she would feel comfortable having sex. Is she waiting for marriage? Is she waiting for Mr. Right? Is she waiting for someone special? Or is it just a matter that the opportunity hasn't presented itself? Once you understand what the values behind her status is, that's when you can make a decision as to whether or not you want to continue to date her.
And then when you do approach it, I think in sexually, women need to feel safe. They need to feel like you're going to respect their limits. They need to know that if they say no at any point, that you're going to back off. So these are the things that you need to make sure she gets from you.
Right. Oh, cool.
All right, Amy. Thanks for calling. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. I forgot to say, we do have a couple of CDs to give away. They're valued at $100 each. The Art of Calibration, From Creepy to Charisma. These are Frank CDs, learning CDs, and we are going to give 2 away. So everybody's going to go into a draw tonight, and we'll pick out a couple of people who we can send this to. We're talking about the adult male virgin, which frankly seems to be quite a special challenge for a lot of men, especially, and women. I think that the more they age and they have not had sex, the more anxious they become about sexuality. That's when I get to, anyway, when I see them is when they're so anxious that there's so much fear that they fear that, well, they just won't function at all.
And that's going to happen to a lot of guys. One of the things I suggest to any man who is worried about failing during performing the sexual act is to put on the condom when they're soft. Let them grow into it. It happens to a lot of adult male virgins where it's the first time they're having sex, they're in the foreplay, they're in the mood, they're in the passion. And then, oh, well, I gotta go put on the condom. It ruins it for them because they lose that moment. They start thinking about what they're doing. They start looking at the condom. Now they start thinking about the risks and the consequences associated with it. Then they start bringing up other negative associations with sex. And it ain't gonna work.
Well, I can tell you one thing, Frank. If they have the guts to talk about it openly with the person they're having sex with, it will take the pressure off.
It can, depending on who they're with. They better
be with the right person then. They may not be with.
There are guys who have shared stories with me where they got nervous and the woman reacted in a way that turned them off to women in general for a period of time.
Oh boy, you don't want that to happen. Let's hear from Joseph. Hi, Joseph.
Hi.
Hi.
I just want to ask 2 questions. First, do reborn again virgins count? I had to do it. And second,
no.
I had a friend in his 30s, and one time we got very drunk, and he admitted to me. So I said I wasn't going to take no nonsense like this because I saw that he was really depressed about it and really he was. I never had him open up to me. Maybe it was the booze. Anyway, so I solved this problem right away and saved him thousands of dollars in the process. I got him a nice call girl, and after 3 dates, he was an expert lovemaker, and the guy had confidence. 6 months later, he found the girl of his dreams.
Okay, but Joseph, there are plenty of men out there who don't want to go that route, and I think that's important to recognize that. Thanks for your call. Appreciate it. Thanks, Joseph. Yes, Frank.
One of the things that I want to bring up is the idea of, well, why doesn't the guy just go ahead and pay for it?
Right.
I'm telling you this through the work I do with adult male virgins. Those guys who paid for sex still didn't satisfy the emotional hunger. The physical hunger got satisfied, but the emotional hunger did not. These guys were still empty because it wasn't just the sex that they wanted. They knew that they could afford to pay for it.
Right.
They wanted the love.
Right. They wanted the combination of all of that together, right?
Exactly. My recommendation is you only pay for sex if you're able to get it without having to pay for it to begin with. That's the only time you go and pay for sex.
Well, there you go. That should answer your thing, Joseph. Coming up, more with Frank Kermit of franktalks.com. If you want to check out a little bit, go to YouTube and type in adult male virgins, and you'll get his YouTube video out there that should give you a little bit more meat from his book and everything else. 514-790-0991. Adult male virgins do pose a specific, or do experience specific challenges, and it's not, this truly is a dating dilemma, which is why we're talking about it. We'll take more of your calls after this on Passion.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. If you are an adult and want to get a handle on this once and for all, you need this seminar. Being an adult male virgin can be most stigmatizing in today's society. You feel like a failure in the eyes of the mass culture around you, alienated from your male friends who all talk about their sexual conquests, and you must hide this shameful secret lest they use it against you. And the very personal pain, anguish, and despair that cannot be described by words that haunts you every moment of your life. Enough is enough. It is time for male virgins to take charge of their sex lives. Frank gives you the rules of winning in this seminar, the Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. Make your first time the best time of her life. Only available at franktalks.com. Frank helps adult boys turn into men.
This is Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on Montreal's news talk leader, CJAD 800.
Sometimes I get... Once a month, we focus on dating dilemmas. That's the name of this show. I'm joined by Frank Kermit. He's a seduction dating coach of franktalks.com. Tonight, we're talking about the adult male virgin. It does pose a particular challenge for some men when it comes to dating, and possibly for some women, although I suspect not exactly the same types of issues. Bob, what are your thoughts on this? Hi, Bob.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm sure you recognize who this is, patient of yours. First time I listened to your show, and I thought I'd comment. Being on the opposite end of the spectrum,
right.
I just have a message for the adult male virgins out there. Guys, I know there's a big stigma about it, and I'm sure it's very difficult to deal with. I'm on the opposite end, and I've had many relations with many different women in many different contexts, and I succeeded in messing up the most amazing relationship I had with the most wonderful person. And believe me, women would find it a lot more sexy that you be a virgin than that you've had sex with 100 women. Don't feel bad about it. Wait for the right one. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Hold your heads high and be proud, guys.
Good point, Bob. Thanks so much for calling in. I appreciate it very much. Jeff joins us next. Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going, Dr. Laurie?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hi, Frank.
Hi.
Hi. I had a question. I'm not a male virgin myself, but my girlfriend was. We've been dating for almost about a year now, and I have a question. It's about the sexual activities that we engage in.
Okay, go ahead.
She's very satisfied with the level of sex that we do have from her actions and from what she tells me. But I'm actually feeling very, very bored with it now.
Okay. Have you discussed it with her?
Yes.
And what have you...
Well, I've mentioned things that that we can try and that I'm into myself. And we've tried this or that. She's tried, but she's really not into most of anything that I am.
Well, what can I ask you, like, what are we talking about here?
Okay, let's give an example of oral sex.
Okay.
Now, the past relationships and girlfriends that I've had, they've pretty much given me oral sex without even my need to asking. They would just do it. And I loved it very much. I kind of felt valued and appreciated. That's kind of something I miss. I've been with my girlfriend for about almost 8 months now, and I still have not gotten a single oral...
Well, have you talked about it with her, that maybe she's uncomfortable with it?
She is uncomfortable, and I do feel bad for her. But it's something that just might not happen, she says. And
well, you know, maybe get her to talk to you about what elements of it disturb her. You know, maybe it's I don't know. You got to check with her. Is it odor? Is it gagging? Is it
gagging?
It's so she has a fear. Well, if you promise her, if you tell her, look, you take full control. I'm not moving. You know, because there's that fear that you're just going to ram it down her throat. Right? And that she has no control. Like, the one thing you never want to do not push her head.
Absolutely not.
Okay. But she needs to know you're not going to do that. And trust builds over time in a relationship. So it may not happen right now. Maybe you have to develop a little bit more trust. She has to know that you say what you do, what you're going to say, and that you are trustworthy in that way, that you're not going to push her into things she's not ready for.
Absolutely.
So if you have that conversation with her, I bet you that eventually she'll get to that point. Have her practice, with you. Make it fun. Like, here's a popsicle. Here's a banana. Let's see you take control.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to add, Frank?
When I've ever dealt with a woman that felt uncomfortable with oral sex, first thing that I would do is I would bathe with her. So in the bathing process, we're cleaning each other, and she can clean that area of your body in a way to her liking. So that's the first thing.
Okay.
Number 2, find out what her favorite drink is and incorporate that. You can dip your part into her favorite drink.
Or chocolate sauce, or honey, or whipped cream, or any of that stuff.
I like that idea.
Okay.
The idea is that you want her to associate pleasurable sensations with doing an act that right now she doesn't feel comfortable doing. The last thing I want to tell you, a lot of women will not perform oral sex because they don't feel confident about it. They don't want to do something that they might not be good at, so it's easier.
To be it too.
So one of the things I'm going to tell you to do, and I would say the same thing to a woman who's doing, to a man who's performing oral on a woman. Encourage her, say positive things, act like you're really enjoying it. That type of enthusiasm beats all.
Thanks so much for your call, Jeff. Appreciate it. We'll take more of your calls right here on Passion.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. If you are an adult and want to get a handle on this once and for all, you need this seminar. Being an adult male virgin can be most stigmatizing in today's society. You feel like a failure in the eyes of the mass culture around you, alienated from your male friends who all talk about their sexual conquests, and you must hide this shameful secret lest they use it against you. And the very personal pain, anguish, and despair that cannot be described by words that haunts you every moment of your life. Enough is enough. It is time for male virgins to take charge of their sex lives. Frank gives you the rules of winning in this seminar, the Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. Make your first time the best time of her life. Only available at franktalks.com. Frank helps adult boys turn into men.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on Montreal's News Talk Leader, CJAD 800.
Dating dilemmas tonight on Passion. We do have a couple of CDs to give away. The Art of Calibration from Creepy to Charisma. 514-790-0991. If you call us long distance, I know we do get some listeners from all over and out of town. 1-800-491-CJD. It's a free call for you. You can also text us at 514-800. We're talking about the adult male virgin with my regular guest here, Frank Kermit of franktalks.com. He actually wrote a book called Adult Male Virgins, and it's a handbook for men who find themselves in this particular situation. Let's hear from Barry. Hi, Barry.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Well, I'm a person who's been partaking for over the years, but my best friend is just met someone for the first time, and he's 50.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's a virgin, and he hasn't been able to meet girls, and he's had a terrible time of it. I guess his self-confidence has been terrifically eroded over the years.
Right, and that's what happens, right? Each year that goes by that you don't succeed, if you call
and
that.
never tried for the most part. It was, you're too scared to try. Too scared.
Right. I think that's pretty common, Frank, right? Just you become so frightened, you're paralyzed, so you don't try again. You just don't try.
Exactly. It's a repeating behavior pattern. Each year gets a little bit harder. But I'm glad to hear that your friend has actually met somebody now.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, finally met somebody. And
did he tell her? Like, how did that? Did he talk to you?
He told her right at the beginning, and she was coming out of a marriage, and I guess she was waiting for a sensitive guy to come along.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess she found him.
Second time around, maybe you're looking for something different the second time, maybe.
Or maybe not as important. Your values change a little bit, and your focus changes.
Yeah, over the years, I had tried things like to try and say, I'd take you out for a lap dance on your birthday or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
No bite.
Nothing.
No, not interested.
Okay.
He was waiting for the right person.
Yeah, well, you know what? You got to respect a guy that's waiting for the right person, too. I mean, obviously, he didn't think it would take that long for the right person to come along, but
I'm just happy that it finally happened. His last 3 months have been wonderful for him.
That's nice to hear.
It's actually changing other things in his life. He's got more confidence to try things at work, and he's pushing a little harder for other things.
Right.
It's changed his character.
That's great. Good. Yeah. I'm glad to hear it. Thanks for sharing that great story with us.
Bye.
All right. Bye, Barry. We've got Peter on the line. Hi, Peter.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a comment about losing your virginity to a prostitute.
Yeah.
And, back when I was in the military years ago, fellow soldiers found out that I was a virgin and suggested that I get rid of my virginity by doing that.
Right. And
so I went ahead and did that, and, it was years until I had I felt comfortable after that having a real relationship with a woman.
So did you think it was helpful to you or hurtful to you?
I think it was hurtful. I mean, it stopped the immediate teasing and whatnot from everybody else, but in the long run, I don't think it was helpful.
Right. No, I think you're right. I'm in agreement with you, and I think Frank's experience with adult male virgins, it's the same thing. Appreciate your call. Thanks so much, Peter. Let's go to Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi. I would just like to know, what are some of the reasons why men delay? Is it because they're shy, they're afraid? Why are there certain cultural backgrounds?
That's a very good question. Frank, you've met many. Tell us.
Okay, in many cases, they have a negative attitude towards sex. Sometimes they're brought up to believe that sex is bad, sex is dirty. And then comes the real pressure. Men are just expected to know what to do during sex. They're expected to lead in sex. In no other area of our lives are we just expected to know something other than sex, relationships, and love.
And where the hell do you find out about it? That's the reality.
And men don't like to fail. It's easier not to try, because if you don't try, you can always come up with excuses. Oh, I just wasn't attracted to her enough. Oh, she did something that I wasn't happy about. Oh, she's out of my league. Oh, what's the point? She's mean. Oh, and come up with a ton of reasons. The real reason is they don't want to try because they're so inexperienced. They're afraid to fail. They're afraid to get rejected and get hurt. So it's easier for them just not to get involved. And as they get older, when they're, 21, 22, 23, they say, well, I got to work on school. I got to work on building my career. Once they hit 25 and anything above 25, now it's an issue of it's the one area of their life they weren't able to get anything done in.
And they feel really bad. They feel inadequate all over again. So it's that whole cycle that starts. And then, at least the ones I see are full of anxiety. They're really hurting. These guys are hurting because they don't know where to begin. They just don't know.
Here's something that all women should be aware of. Let's say they really like a guy, and the guy finds whatever excuse he can not to date her, and she's wondering, but I'm decent looking, I treat him nice, what's wrong? What might be wrong is that he has a fear of intimacy, whether that fear of intimacy is fear of sex, fear of sharing, fear of making himself vulnerable. And a lot of women are feeling rejected when it's not rejecting the woman at all. He's just not comfortable enough in his own skin to make himself vulnerable.
Is that a good answer for you?
Yes.
All right, Cheryl. Thanks so much for calling and taking the time to be with us tonight. 514-790-0991. You can text a comment or message or question at 514-800. If you're calling us long distance, 1-800-491-CJAD, especially for those of you listening online. So the question of when to tell, I think we really did talk about that as to, when do you divulge this information and should you? And I think, guys, do you find a lot of men lie about it? They will not tell?
A lot of men, especially in my background and my business, are encouraged to lie about it. They're encouraged to make up this fictitious girlfriend that once existed.
Oh, God.
And, for a certain type of woman, that type of story will work. That's
only if you just want it. Without really having a relationship.
If you're looking for a one-night stand or a quick fling, unfortunately, though, sometimes those one-night stands and quick flings do develop into something more long-term. What do you do then if you started on a lie? That's why I advocate don't bother lying, and one of the best things that I can teach a man to say is, it's none of your business.
Right. Or I'm not ready to talk about it.
Exactly.
Or not right now. Or I don't kiss and tell, or whatever it is. You're actually not lying. You're just saying, I don't want to talk about it right now.
Which is one of the best answers you can give.
Right. Now, you talk about the age 25. Why does that seem to be the cutoff of, when it becomes a problem, when it's not a problem?
For men, the age of 25 is usually around the time that, the majority of his schoolwork is now completed. Right. By that point, he's gotten the degree that he needs to get. He's already started on his career. You can't use the excuse, well, I'm looking for a job, looking to build my career. School is over, career is started. Now what? Who does he have to share his life with? But at that point, you're 25. You're now in the workforce. It's not like you're in school and you have a lot of free time to meet people. It's becoming more and more difficult. And the question on every man's mind, if he's an adult male virgin, is, what am I going to tell her if she starts asking me about my past? I don't know what to do on a date now. Should I even bring up the topic about sex? How do I lean in for that first kiss? Oh my God. Oh my God. It's easier to stay away from it, but the loneliness and the despair that some of these men feel.
And it really is. I mean, I see that. I see the pain. It's just horrible.
Yeah, and some of these guys do go to prostitutes, but they still feel like virgins, at least emotionally, because I know one guy, and this is a horrible story, he went to prostitutes from the time he was about 19 until he was about in his mid to late 20s. He was going to at least a different prostitute every month, if not every week. Then he finally meets the one girl that he's been waiting for. Physically, she's exactly his type. She had the same type of background, same type of things that they like. He finally got enough courage to get her out on a date. They had dinner together. She takes him by the hand at some point in the evening. She leads him to the bedroom. But he's so used to being with paid sex workers who tend to take the lead, he didn't know what to do. So he decided, no, I'm not going to have sex with her. I don't want to treat her like I treat those other girls. Meanwhile, she's taking him to the bedroom for exactly that.
Right.
But he never even told her that, no, I want to wait. This is my way of showing you respect. He didn't even know to communicate that because he had no relationship experience. She never went out with him again. She started dating one of the guys that he knew, and those two ended up getting married about a year later.
But also, if she starts asking about his sexual experience or sexual history, and all he has to share with her is, well, I've been with about 100 hookers. I know listen, if we could all not judge, fine, but we're human, and humans judge.
My issue with him is that he had an issue with it. And so if he has an issue with it, why would he expect that anybody else that he's going to date is not going to have an issue with it?
Right. Good point. Coming up, we'll talk about maybe virgins dating other virgins and how probable or possible is that when the community may not, or people just don't admit to it. That's our Dating Dilemma show with Frank Kermit right here on Passion on CJAD 800.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. If you are an adult and want to get a handle on this once and for all, you need this seminar. Being an adult male virgin can be most stigmatizing in today's society. You feel like a failure in the eyes of the mass culture around you, alienated from your male friends who all talk about their sexual conquests, and you must hide this shameful secret lest they use it against you. And the very personal pain, anguish, and despair that cannot be described by words that haunts you every moment of your life. Enough is enough. It is time for male virgins to take charge of their sex lives. Frank gives you the rules of winning in this seminar, the Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. Make your first time the best time of her life. Only available at franktalks.com. Frank helps adult boys turn into men.
This is Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on Montreal's News Talk Leader, CJAD 800.
Dating dilemmas tonight on Passion. We're talking about adult male virgins, could be adult female virgins too, which poses a special kind of challenge for many when it comes to the dating game and just how to begin and how to introduce this fact of their lives. Mo, hi, welcome to Passion. Hey, Mo.
Hi. Good evening. I just wanted to make a comment. You know, a couple of minutes ago you were talking with a gentleman about oral sex.
Yes.
You were saying that my girlfriend doesn't like to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I really respect that girlfriend because, you know, because I don't understand. You know, as a man, I enjoy oral sex. It's convenient, it's easy, it's anywhere, you can do it. But, you know, for a woman, I can't understand how she can enjoy. No, you are kind of encouraging him and encouraging her, you know, dip it in chocolate or whatever. So it feels to me that you are really promoting oral sex. And
hold on. Whoa. 1 second. Let me just, it's not just because I talk about something doesn't mean I'm promoting anything, but there's nothing wrong with what two people do together that is consenting. I never would I say you have to force her to do anything. But in our sexual lives, we are constantly learning. And when you're in a relationship, in a safe environment with somebody you trust, there's nothing wrong with talking about different things you can experiment with. There are plenty of things guys can do to women that they may not thoroughly enjoy, but that the woman enjoys. And same thing for women. There's some women that do enjoy giving oral sex and others that they're pretty neutral about it, but they do it because it pleases their partner and that's what they enjoy. So, you know, it's about having the dialogue about it. I didn't say, well, she doesn't do it, dump her.
But
no.
You know that you know, as a doctor, you're talking on the radio, and especially about teenagers. When they listen, the guys, you know, they tell the girlfriend, look, it's oral sex. Everybody is doing it, you know, and you should be able to do it. You should do it because I enjoy. You didn't hear
me say those words. I didn't say you should do it. I didn't say.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that when you say, you know, you can make it enjoyable to the woman, dip it in the chocolate. You mention it in a way that's very simple. I mean, do it and it's nothing to it. You know, and then the teenager might get it the wrong way, especially the boys, and they can force the girls to do it.
Okay,
you know,
first of all, Mo, 1 second. I'm talking not to teenagers right now, okay? That's a number one. We're not talking about forcing anything. And in fact, anytime somebody pressures somebody into an activity, I'd say, you know, back off. And I would teach women to tell them to back off. And if they don't back off, the heck, you know, go ahead and bite it if somebody's shoving something. I mean, that's assault to me. That's sexual assault, and we're not talking about that. That's a whole other thing. But exploring sexuality, talking about it when you're in a loving relationship and you're with somebody who's open and you're open, and these are discussions you can have. What's wrong with that?
Well, I see, but this society is becoming so permissive, and I can feel, I can talk to the girls, some of them, that they are forced, you know, because everybody is doing it. You know, all the other girls are doing it, so they say we have to do it. And they feel kind of obliged to do it. And I say maybe every time you talk about oral sex, you have to put it the other aspect of it that, you know, I cannot see how the girl enjoys that they do it.
Well, obviously there are plenty of women who will tell you. Well, but Mo, there are plenty of women who will tell you they absolutely do enjoy it. And the fact that, you know, you bring up a very interesting myth that, everybody's doing it. That's actually a myth. It's not everybody doing it. Just like there's a myth that, if you're gay, you're having anal sex. No, that's also a myth. So, you know, watch where your perceptions are coming from, and what you're saying. And the reality is, this is a show about sexuality. I'm going to talk about everything under the sun that has to do with sexuality. It in no way says I promote this or I promote that or I promote that or I'm giving people ideas of what to do. This is about information and keeping ourselves informed. And when we're informed, we make better decisions for ourselves. It's when we're not informed that we might feel pressured into doing things.
I appreciate that. At least you tell the teenagers, they have to make a decision.
Yeah. Thanks for your call, Mo. Appreciate it. Bye-bye. 514-790-0991. You can text your message at 514-800. Sometimes I go on a rant. I apologize. All right, let's talk about virgins dating other virgins. Is this a good idea? Where would they even meet other virgins if they're in their 30s?
You would be surprised. Wherever you can meet people, you'll meet virgins. It's just because it's just a random part of the population.
Okay.
Now, if both people involved are virgins, it's a good thing if they're both virgins because it's a certain type of value. Maybe they come from a religious background.
Agreed.
And the religion states that, no, people have to be virgins until they're married. So two virgins together getting married under that type of religious structure, that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. It's when the people involved are virgins not by choice, but because of circumstance. Maybe they're just really, really shy and they just couldn't get to that point in any relationship. Maybe they're just not socially attractive and they just haven't gotten the right attention or they just haven't had the opportunity to do it. The fact is that it's not about them whether or not they're virgins, but why they're virgins. If you can understand the reasoning behind that, if it's based on values and those values are similar, two virgins together is great. If you're talking about people who simply want to reach the point of, I don't want to be a virgin anymore, and I want to get out there, and I want to date, and I want to get some experience, then no, two people who are virgins dating together probably isn't going to give them what they're looking for.
Although they can learn together, They can, if they're open and willing, but I'm assuming if they're really shy and awkward and you put two of those together, it's not the best recipe.
No, when you have two very passive people together, you'll have a very passive relationship, and the one thing they're going to waste is time.
Good point. 514-790-0991. Dating dilemmas tonight on Passion. If you have comments or thoughts about adult virginity, in other words, we're pretty much focused on men, women who are virgins well into their late 20s and 30s. We heard about one guy in his 50s. In my own practice, I've seen umpteen in their 40s, late 30s. This is rather common. I don't think it's as rare as even the statistics seem to show.
And it's going to get worse because we are becoming a society that is getting more comfortable with computers than we are with face-to-face interactions. You're going to see a lot of younger people who have cyber relationships and they text back and forth, but when they get their face-to-face with each other, they don't know what to do. Right. They feel awkward, and all of a sudden they have to associate a voice with the text.
And a body and a smell. I mean, there's, the smells, the body. I mean, there's all the textures, everything. Whereas they can have cyber sex, because that's pretty much masturbation while you're looking at something else, right? 514-790-0991. Would love to hear from you. I'm Dr. Laurie Betito in studio with Frank Kermit.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. If you are an adult and want to get a handle on this once and for all, you need this seminar. Being an adult male virgin can be most stigmatizing in today's society. You feel like a failure in the eyes of the mass culture around you, alienated from your male friends who all talk about their sexual conquests, and you must hide this shameful secret lest they use it against you. And the very personal pain, anguish, and despair that cannot be described by words that haunts you every moment of your life. Enough is enough. It is time for male virgins to take charge of their sex lives. Frank gives you the rules of winning in this seminar. The Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. Make your first time the best time of her life. Only available at franktalks.com. Frank helps adult boys turn into men.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on Montreal's News Talk Leader, CJAD 800.
We are young. Body
We've got dating dilemmas tonight on Passion. Every month we invite Frank Kermit in. He's a seduction and dating coach of franktalks.com. He's the author of several books and an author of a book and runs groups for specifically adult male virgins. And that's the particular dilemma that we are dealing with tonight. And I'm glad to see we got lots and lots of calls about this issue. You still have a few minutes left if you want to get your 2 cents in. Would love to hear from you as well. 514-790-0991. Who are the best virgins to date? Are they good to date or not good to date? Talk about it from the other side.
Okay, the best virgins to date are the virgins who, A, are enthusiastic about dating. These are people that admit, okay, well, you know what? I'm not a virgin, or assuming they're going to admit it, but they're enthusiastic and want to get out there and date. And, will admit things like, well, I don't really know if I'd like that or not. I've never tried it. Those are the greatest virgins to date. You want to stay away from the ones who say things like, ew, I don't like sex. That sex is dirty. That's disgusting. Those are the ones you want to stay away from because they've got issues and they're going to transfer those attitudes about sex to you if you have sex with them. The virgins that I've dated were the best relationships I've had with them were the ones where they were really gung-ho. They wanted to try things. They wanted to experiment. That doesn't mean she lost her virginity to me, but she had a positive attitude towards dating and relationships. It's the virgins who think that they're experts on relationships. Well, a relationship doesn't have to have sex. How would they know? I'm their first boyfriend.
Right. Okay. Good points. What about, can you tell? I'm sure that I know that a lot of the guys that I've seen will say things like, I'm sure they can tell I'm a virgin, or does it show, or they go to other extremes so that it doesn't show. But how would you tell?
Oh, you can totally tell just by the way they communicate. First of all, if a guy says, if he has higher standards than his social skill level. He can only go out with a girl who looks like a certain way or has a certain profession, a certain job, but he doesn't have the social skills to be able to even attract somebody like that. That means he's not having sex with anybody.
Okay.
So that's
he may not be a virgin technically, but he's low on the totem pole in the dating game.
Exactly. Another way, you never see the guy with a woman. In fact, they probably hang out with married couples and a lot of friends, but you never actually see them with a date. And you won't notice it right away because as you get to know somebody. But over the course of maybe, 3, 4, maybe a number of months, you start realizing, I've never seen that guy on a date. I've never seen him with a girl. They refuse to go out on set-up dates. So I would never go out on a blind date. Well, if you're single and you don't have anybody in your life and you're refusing a blind date, there's got to be a reason.
Okay.
Deep-rooted loneliness. If they come across as really, really lonely, there's a good chance that they might be a virgin, in addition to all of those other signs. Indecision. If they're just generally indecisive people. If you don't have it in you to be decisive about going after getting a relationship, getting sex, being intimate, if you don't have that drive to go there, maybe you lack that drive in other areas of your life. And that's definitely a sign of an adult male virgin.
Okay. Well, those are clear signs. I'm just not, I don't know how easy it would be for women to necessarily spot them out because I guess so. I guess it's...
On a first date, there's a ton of conversation topics, such as talk about a particular movie that has a really hot sex scene in it. See how the guy reacts to it. Is he really immature about it, or does he just not want to talk about sex and sex icky and sex ooey and that sort of thing?
A lot of shyness. Shyness is a big element in later virginity, isn't it?
Shyness is a curse.
Yeah.
It's truly a curse, and the more shy you are, the more you are cursed. It's a source of a lot of pain because behind that shyness is truly a desire to be liked. And it hurts so much because in order to be liked, you got to put yourself out there. You got to risk rejection. And guys who are really, really shy, and this is for women too, it's easier not to put yourself out there and risk that rejection because it hurts so much more than the perceived pleasure that they would get in finding someone who likes them.
Right. What about pornography? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to address the biggest issue.
If you're an adult male virgin, do not watch pornography. It puts bad images in your mind and sets unrealistic expectations for yourself and for the women you date. Pornography for virgins is bad. Pornography is only for guys who are already getting sex.
Okay, those are the words of advice from Frank Kermit, and We have a couple of winners. Who did you picked? There was Peter and Barry. Peter, Barry, congratulations. You've won yourself The Art of Calibration from Creepy to Charisma. You can go to franktalks.com to see a whole series of other materials that have to do with dating and seduction and relationships and all of that stuff. Thanks, Frank. We'll catch you again next month.
I look forward to it, Laurie.
Wonderful. Be back again tomorrow night. I want to thank Tina Lullum in Master Control. So happy she's back. I'd also like to thank all of you for calling in, for listening, for participating in the program. This show would be nothing without you, our listeners and our callers. If you need to get in touch with me, drlaurie.com is my website, or passion@cjad.com. Have a wonderful rest of the evening, and don't forget, life is short, so make sure you take the time to smell the flowers and indulge your passions.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. If you are an adult and want to get a handle on this once and for all, you need this seminar. Being an adult male virgin can be most stigmatizing in today's society. You feel like a failure in the eyes of the mass culture around you, alienated from your male friends who all talk about their sexual conquests, and you must hide this shameful secret lest they use it against you. And the very personal pain, anguish, and despair that cannot be described by words that haunts you every moment of your life. Enough is enough. It is time for male virgins to take charge of their sex lives. Frank gives you the rules of winning in this seminar, the Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. Make your first time the best time of her life. Only available at franktalks.com. Frank helps adult boys turn into men.